Alright guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So today I thought I'd bring you a review of a piece of equipment I've been using for the last 2 years. And now that we're past the 2-year, which is the warranty point, I can come to you guys and give you my honest feedback on it. And the product is the Troy-Bilt 3-in-1 walk-behind mower. Now I purchased this bagging mower from Tractor Supply 2 years ago. When I bought it on sale, it was $219. But because of course we live in inflationary times, the price has now gone up to $319. So a $100 markup. That's how much things have changed, which I think is just crazy. But for the value on the money, I definitely think this is one you guys should look at. Now to give you a little backstory, up till this point, we had used push mowers from Lowe's, like the cheapest one you could pretty much get. Anywhere from $129 to $150. They were not baggers. They had the real thin decks, the real small wheels. And after about 2 or 3 years, the wheels would just rust out or the deck would rust out and the mower would just be junk. So I told myself 2 years ago when I went to buy one, because one actually broke in the middle of summer on me like that I was gonna go buy one. I wanted a bagger for compost reasons. I wanted one that had enough power, and also wanted one that was built a little more heavy duty. Now, later in the video when I do the pros and cons, I'll explain how heavy duty can actually become a con and how using it when it's heavier duty or when it has wider wheels, etc., can be problematic. So make sure you stay to the end on that. Now that we've talked about the price and why we had to go get it, let's talk about the process of getting it, because this is sold in store at most stores. I actually, at the time of recording this, checked all of our local stores. They all have it in stock. So that's always a good thing to be able to just go in and buy it, not have to order it. Now, let's talk about some specs here. And this is another one that'll come up in cons. The first thing I'm gonna say about this thing is heavy. 60 pounds complete. That's not with fuel or oil. That is what it weighs, is 60 pounds. It is not a light mower. It is not self-propelled. It is a bagger though. Now, 140cc motor. Now this thing has all the power you will need, but they do sell one with a bigger motor in the same series if you guys are looking for more power. It has a 1.9 bushel bag for bagging. All right. This thing can hold as much really as necessary. Yes, you do have to empty it out pretty often, but it's not terrible. I have used mowers with smaller bags. This one is not bad, and it doesn't stop and get clogged up halfway through. It generally will let it completely fill up before you'll need to empty it. Now, it does have a 6-position height adjustment on it. Now, these do not slip. These do not jump like in the cheaper mowers. These lock in and it's done. And it's a one-side adjustment. So both wheels move with that one-side adjustment. It has a 21-inch deck, which doesn't seem very big, but actually I can cover a lot of ground with this mower really fast. I really think that if you've got a lot of hills and stuff and weird shapes, while this is heavy, that 21-inch deck is plenty to get it done. And because it's not real long, it doesn't flex as bad. Now, this does come with a 2-year limited warranty. You probably could do something with that, but when I hear people say limited warranty, I know that I'm going to have to really fight with the company and provide a lot of information, pictures, feedback, and stuff to be able to get them to follow through. Now, let's move on from that, because with this mower, there's a tons of pros and cons. I love this mower. I will be honest, I would probably go buy it again even at the higher price now, just because after 2 years it shows no signs of stoppage. The other thing I can say about this mower is I don't tend to leave my mower in the garage like I should. In fact, this one just spent all winter outside. I can throw fuel in it, pull on it, and it fires right up, right? I hear so many people complain about their mowers and their splitters and everything else that they leave sit outside that don't start up in the spring or summer when they go try and start them up. I've had absolutely no issues with this thing. It starts every single time without fail. Clearly you can look at it and tell after 2 years it still looks almost like brand new. It has some sun fading, you know, but the reality is this thing lives outside, guys, in the sun and the snow and the rain and the sleet in Ohio weather. Now, Ohio may not be the worst, but it's definitely not the best. So I think for longevity, I think it's a very tough product. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is how well it cuts, because they have a weird inverted blade system on this, and when it cuts, it does chop it, and it has like a raking that makes the grass stand up so you get a more level cut. This all works in conjunction with how it goes in the bag. Remember I told you guys a lot of baggers will fill up about halfway and they get stuck? This one doesn't. This one blows it all the way into the back of the bag and fills it up pretty consistently. Now if it's really, really wet out, you might get some clumping, but generally not. You also can take the bag off and use it in mulcher mode, and it does an excellent job of mulching it up. You don't see any big blades of grass, and you won't have any issues just cutting your grass without bagging it. Now the bagging system, when you lock it in, it actually is a one-handed lock-in. It's very easy to do, and it does fit pretty well, but you do want to make sure you get your side ears down in there completely. That way it doesn't vibrate loose. I really think that it'll start pretty much every time for the life of me owning it. I don't do any specialized maintenance to it. I do need to tell you that you should do maintenance on your motors, but I haven't done anything to this thing in 2 years, and I mow my grass 1 to 2 times a week throughout the entire summer. I mow all my leaves in the fall. I don't pick up a lot of sticks unless they're really big, because I just chop it all up and make compost out of it. Now, with all that said, with every good thing, there's going to come some cons, and let's talk about those cons. The first thing is, it's heavy. If you've been using one of those cheap like Murray motors or something, mowers that you just push around that you can get real cheap from Walmart or whatever, you're going to think this thing's ungodly heavy. I mean heavy. 60 pounds doesn't seem like much, but when you're pushing this thing around, it is heavy, and the more you get in the bagger bag, the heavier it's going to get. So you do need to know that going forward. Now, the next con, and this one is probably the thing that I hated the most about this mower when I first started, because when you're used to those smaller mowers with the thin wheels, turning is easy. But on this mower with the bigger wheels, the wider front wheels, it does not turn well. It does not want to turn as easily as those thin wheel models. But if the ground's even slightly damp like our lot down there gets all the time, these wheels don't want to sink as easy. So it's a trade-off there. But it does have a much harder time turning than, say, these thin wheel lighter models. And it all goes back to the durability versus comfort when pushing it. If I was going to compare it, I'd tell you guys like the old Porter and Cable drills that still today will work, but they're so heavy and working with them just wears you out because you're used to like newer impacts and stuff. But those impacts and newer drills probably don't have the lifespan that old Porter and Cable had. So you really have to choose between durability and quality versus disposable but lighter and easier. And that's a personal preference thing. For me, I wanted something that I'm going to have for 5+ years and something that's not going to be breaking. I had 2 mowers where the wheel just folded in under itself because the frame gave out on it. And the one before that, the motor actually broke off of the actual plate it's mounted to because the body had rusted out. So for me, I wanted an investment in something that was going to last me quite a while. Now, at this cost, when I've been looking at the cheap mowers now that are well over $200, I don't know why you wouldn't want to choose to go with something more like this. Because the extra $100 you're spending, the differential of what it was back when I was doing it versus now is a much smaller gap. This product can clearly take a beating and keep going. Now, when I'm mowing with it, I do have to move a little slower because of the weight, so it does slow me down. But the quality of the cut is way better, and I get the automatic byproduct, which is compost, because I take the cuttings, be it leaves, be it sticks, be it grass, and I put it into my compost bin. And by putting that in there, I'm building up ground for my gardens and other things. So rather than just cutting it up and not receiving nothing for my work, I'm actually getting a product for it, which I feel better about myself doing. I feel better about the machinery that I'm spending my money on because I'm producing as much as possible. That may not be as important for some of you, but in how I run things here on my homestead, that's a big part of what we do. I do recommend that all of you take the time to at least go through and check this model out at your local Tractor Supply or anywhere that sells Troy-Bilt products. I believe that for the money, it's probably one of the better investments you can make. All of us end up having to cut grass sooner or later, unless we're living in an apartment. And the reality is you ought to have a piece of equipment that's going to last you, but yet you can also handle and enjoy. We do have enough property, we could probably get away with a small riding mower, but I feel like there's so much maintenance involved in those, and I am still young enough. I need to be out there getting my steps and my exercise, and this is just an easy way to do it. So you can pretty much give this a 2 thumbs up from us here at the Frugal Homestead. My wife can use it, my kids can use it. It's not so hard to turn or so heavy that pretty much anybody can't use it. It's just something that I wanted you guys to know about because it will feel different than probably a cheap mower that you've been pushing. But with that said, and if you haven't already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have at this point, come on now. Go down, join the family, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos. Make sure you give us a like, hit the comments up. Let me know what you're using to mow with. If you've had the chance to use one of these Troy-Bilt mowers, what you think of them. And let's continue the conversation more down there. Now, I've got grass to mow, guys, so I will see you in the next one.